saw.
Sorry about that, guys. All of a sudden now my computer completely shut down. It's definitely something going on with the internet tonight. Like, all of a sudden my computer screen went green, an error message popped up, and this is a brand new MacBook. Like, never had a problem with it. I produce my music on it. All my videos I produce on it, and I'm talking about music videos to the full extent, everything. So I'm trying to get things going here. Since the beginning, this has been a pretty bad disaster. Hold on one second. Make sure I got this up and running correctly. Okay, we got one watcher back. Can you hear me? One, whoever's watching, if you feel like
Testing.
answering.
1, 2, 3. Can I get an amen? Thank you. Test, test. Okay, maybe the FBI caught on a little bit. Maybe they were listening to us instead of doing what they should be doing. So, there we go. Thank you for finally asking a question.
We're not gonna pull up any more web pages because just in case the computer crashes. So basically what you're seeing on the screen is whoever joins the chat and wants to talk, we're here to talk.
False flags.
Yeah, you never heard about false flags?
I mean, yeah. Okay.
See, now, you really believe that the school shooting was a false flag with Nicholas Cruz? I mean, that's an interesting subject. I've seen a lot of people.
Oh, there's stuff about Florida all over the place.
Like the Florida shooting, basically tonight what we had planned to do was we were going to compare the shooter of the high school with the Pulse nightclub shooter, Omar Mateen. That was what all our notes were set up for, and basically they both have connections to the Islamic State.
Yes, but Nicholas Cruz is in lockup right now. I'm not sure how they would get any footage.
I mean, Nicholas Cruz did come out and admit that he was the shooter, but that's a good point. Could there have been another shooter?
And what killers are on the loose? What are you talking about with that?
But definitely, I think there's an ISIS connection. I think it goes all the way as far as Syria, what's going on over there. I think that the Bashar al-Assad is fighting the Turkish troops over there, and it's a disaster. I mean, just the other day, America blew up a tank in Syria. I don't know if anybody's been watching what's going on in Syria, but Americans blew up a Russian tank in Syria and then killed like 50 Russian soldiers. Russian soldiers who were supposedly mercenaries that worked for the Russian government, dressed like a cop. Said witness. See, I didn't see that. From what I saw, he was walking down the street after he had went to Subway. Basically, right after the shooting, he dropped his AR-15 in the hallway on the 3rd floor. And then he took off with fleeing students and ran out of the school.
Right.
Which
he just mingled in with the students running out.
And then somehow he made his way all the way to a Walmart, where he went into the Walmart. He bought a soda. He sat down for a while. Yeah, he went to a Subway and a Walmart. He sat down for a while. Then he got up and he went to a McDonald's.
Now, all of this happened within 25 minutes. Everything. From him walking into the school to the cops having him on the ground was within, I think it was 26 minutes total.
Yeah, he went into a McDonald's, and then he left the McDonald's, and somehow officers picked up he was the shooter because of the clothes he was wearing. But not only that, see the whole false flag idea. I don't know. It would be tough for me to believe if you could try to convince me, but the whole false people identified him as the shooter when he walked into the school. It said certain teachers identified him and certain students identified him when he came into the school shooting. And then there were other classmates. But teachers said shooter dressed full helmet, face, body armor. I didn't see that. I'm going to try to pull it up real quick.
Why?
So teacher said Cruz in body armor.
Now, did they say body armor during the shooting? I've seen body armor on separate occasions.
So what I'm seeing here, are you talking about Alex Jones? Alex Jones, she describes warning fellow teacher Scott Beagle to also shut his door, adding that Beagle couldn't see the shooter. I had a good visual of him, which is why I yelled at him to shut his door. Strangely, there have been a few. Teacher says Florida shooter was in full body armor. Now, I can't verify this. This is through the Free Thought Project. Teacher says Florida shooter was in full body armor, face mask, and she thought he was a cop. A teacher who witnessed the Florida school shooting said she saw the shooter firing a barrage of bullets down the hall, and she immediately thought he was a police officer because he was wearing full body armor. Sorry if I'm not speaking 100% correct, because I still am dealing with like a toothache I have. But Parkland, Florida, a teacher at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School said she encountered the man who reportedly shot and killed 17 people, and she initially believed he was a police officer based on the body armor he was wearing and the unidentifiable firearm he was shooting in her direction. What do you think of that, Tess?
I don't know, because other reports give when they were asking who did it, they were very descriptive in the red t-shirt and blue jeans. That's a huge thing, that he was wearing a red t-shirt and blue jeans, and that's what they found him in. And even the cops said he did look like an average student, so I can definitely see him just running out with the crowd and being in that adrenaline rush for all those kids running out. If he didn't have the gun in his hand and he's trying to pretend like one of them, maybe they're not looking next to them and realizing it's him. They're just trying to focus on getting out of the building. I have seen pictures of him in body armor, but I haven't even heard anything about him having body armor on during that shooting. Just the burgundy / red shirt.
So I'm on Google right now, and I'm trying to find pictures from the or there was a picture of when they were arresting him and he was laying in the grass right here. Now, I don't know if this picture was this picture could be from any time, though. I don't know the full story on this picture. Let me see if I view more. But basically,
I noticed that
he
a lot of
looks
Florida kids like the Eagles.
He looks like, I don't know if this is the school mascot, the Eagles.
Maybe.
Here's a better picture of him. And if we examine the picture, see, in this picture, it doesn't look like... I did read a report supposedly where he took an Uber to the school. And in that, the Uber driver... Here, I'll pull that up. Supposedly, the Uber driver who took him to the school said he was carrying a guitar case. Uber driver...
And he said he was going to music class, is what he told her. And that's why she really didn't suspect any guns. That's why she didn't notice a huge gun, because you would think, how would she not notice that? But having a cello case or a guitar case or what have you, could very well happen.
But this is the mainstream media, so you never know what to believe with the mainstream media, of course. But according to the New York Post, Uber driver details fateful ride with alleged school shooter. confessed Florida shooter Nicholas Cruz calmly told an Uber driver he was headed to music class just minutes before carrying out his murderous rampage. Cruz ordered an Uber on Valentine's Day at 2:06 p.m. and climbed into the back of a car carrying a large case. The Uber driver, who did not want to be identified, said she thought nothing of the case. Of course, the Uber driver wouldn't want to be identified. Why wouldn't she? You know, if that was me, I wouldn't care if you identified me. That almost makes me feel like people are feeling threatened in the area. Like, does this have something to do with the police force? Or why? How come the FBI didn't respond to all the reports, the numerous reports that came in that he was going to go into the school shooting? But I quote, the Uber driver stated, "I saw him with a backpack, which I thought was a guitar case." How does that make any sense?
What do you mean?
I saw him with a backpack, which I thought was a
cases
guitar
have straps
case.
on them. You can wear it like a backpack.
I mean, a guitar is way bigger than a backpack to me. It's either a guitar case or it's a backpack.
But I think she's saying he was wearing it like a backpack.
He was wearing it like a backpack.
Yeah, like a strap over his shoulder.
I mean, I guess if you say so, but he told me, "I am going to my music class," said the driver, who picked Cruz up from a location on Loxahatchee Road in Parkland. The 19-year-old appeared calm and didn't speak to the driver on the 13-minute drive to his destination, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. I quote what she says, "Just a normal person," the driver said. "I didn't see anything strange or something like that, no." Asked whether he gave any indications he was about to carry out the deadliest school shooting since 2012's Sandy Hook massacre. By the way, if you have a Netflix account, I suggest you go on and check out. Do you remember what that documentary was called?
Oh, I don't. It's extremely sad. I cried my eyes out.
But if you go on, there's a documentary on Netflix about the Sandy Hook massacre. But back to the point. Shooting since 2012 Sandy Hook massacre. The driver replied, "Nothing, nothing, nothing." The driver continued about her day after dropping Cruz off at 2:21 p.m., but soon learned of the tragedy at the school. "I saw the news and I thought, oh, I just left someone over there," she recalled. The Broward County Sheriff's Office called her shortly after and wanted to search her car. She said they had found nothing. "Don't be afraid," they told her. "You have nothing to do with this." So the kid, I mean, I just can't believe it. Still drives me crazy. It drives me absolutely crazy that the FBI wouldn't respond to these people's outcries. So I'm getting back to your comments here. Why didn't the cops go in? Scroll down, Tess. Wow, cops are training to turn off their critical thinking like dogs. Did they let it happen? Backpack, guitar case. The cops. Well, the cops.
Yes, there are.
The cops. It's not really stated what happened at the school, other than the ROS officer, school resource officer, did not enter the school because it's up for debate. But like you saw, what was that guy's name?
Hold on 1 second.
What?
Okay, I do, at least in Maryland. I'm not sure what states you guys are in or what, but as far as the cops going in and not going in at Sandy Hook versus this Florida school, Sandy Hook's an elementary school. In Maryland, elementary schools do not have officers stationed there, but high schools do. High schools have officers stationed at them. Sandy Hook, I do not believe, had a cop stationed there whatsoever, but I do know that at the Florida shooting they did. And that cop, he's a complete coward who just decided not to go in, and he's resigned now.
She's talking about Scott Peterson.
Yeah, Scott Peterson.
Scott Peterson was the school's resource officer.
And what's sad is they do have the option that if they hear open fire, they do have the option to either wait for backup or go in. But he absolutely should have went in that school, and there's no excuse for him. But with Sandy Hook, I feel like they had to have time to respond. I don't think that there was There wasn't a cop on site that just didn't respond at Sandy Hook like there was in Florida. In Florida, I think those are two totally different situations where, yes, no, I think the cops should be a lot closer to schools than they are, and they should respond faster than they do, but you can only do so much at the same time.
So, go ahead. You want to finish?
Yeah.
So basically, this sheriff Israel, after the shooting happened, came out and literally aired out this Scott Peterson, the school resource officer, which is a 50-some-year-old man who did not enter the school when he heard shots being fired. In his statements, he came out and said, I'm talking about the resource officer, Scott Peterson, he came out and said that he thought the shots were occurring outside the school and not inside the school. Now, he was set to retire, and he only had a couple weeks left, supposedly. Sounds to me like he was saving his own butt. And I think he was totally wrong. But on last night's show, I looked up protocols of an active shooter on crime scenes at schools. And, I mean, policies change for different police departments all over the country. But most of them leave it in the resource officer's hands whether to decide to go into the school without backup or wait outside. So even if he was saving his own butt, he's a terrible liar, man. He's a terrible liar to say he thought he heard the shots outside. If anything,
I was on the third floor of the building.
If anything, I would have been like, I was waiting for backup. I mean, in some situations, that's what you would do. That's proper policing, to wait for backup before you enter an active shooter situation. Did they let out back guitar case? And yeah, this backpack guitar case, like, this is why I think that, I don't think, what do you guys think? Do you think we need metal detectors at schools? But would that have stopped him?
No.
If he wanted to go into a school and start blasting right from the door, as soon as he got near the door, he could have started blasting. Even if there was metal detectors, he could have blasted everybody sitting at them and walked straight through the door.
And
so,
just like I said last night, if you take that badge, you take that oath, and you take that job to protect those kids. Like, that one man took a job to protect 900 kids and however many teachers are in that school. And as soon as that fire alarm was pulled and the shot started, he cowered. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
My brother's a cop. He would never let that happen. Even as a citizen, most citizens wouldn't even let that happen, especially if they have a gun on their hip.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw earlier in the show what we had prepared, but there was a video where I detailed the entire incident that happened when crews entered the school. What's really strange, and this is another subject up for debate, is just like just like other events that have occurred with active shooters, just like the Vegas shooting, how come there was a fire drill earlier that day? And you know the first thing he did when he entered that school? Pulled the fire alarm. And half the people in that school were confused. They thought it was another drill. They thought that it was a part of the drill that happened earlier in the morning. So how did Nicholas Cruz happen to know to go to the school on a specific day where they would be having a fire drill, where he could set it up that way? You think it's coincidence?
I think that is coincidence, and I think he pulled the fire drill to make everybody run out of the classrooms so he could just open fire on everybody instead of having go door to door. Because a drill, everybody gets in line and runs right out of the classroom. Teacher is always the last one out. So that would be the perfect scenario. You pull the fire alarm, you stand there for a second, kids start pouring out of the classrooms, and you just start shooting. And then they turn around, it goes into a panic, and by then you have 30 people dead. It's very simple to do that. I think that's very coincidental. I don't think that he knew, because I think if he did know, he would have waited for the fire drill to happen and he would have went earlier that day. That would make more sense to me, but the kid didn't have much sense anyway. But I do think that was coincidental.
And here we have the latest report on this Scott Peterson. We're going to come back to the fire alarm in just a second, but here we have the latest report, which is from the Miami Herald.
I'll be right back.
The latest report reveal that whatever security plans the Broward Sheriff's Office had in place failed horribly when crews killed 17 people and injured 15 on February 22nd. Israel disclosed, Scott Israel, which is another sheriff at the Broward County Sheriff's Office, Israel disclosed the shocking information that school resource officer Scott Peterson stood outside for 4 minutes while Cruz was inside firing an AR-15. Israel said that Peterson should have charged inside, confronted the gunman, and killed him. Tough talk for the cameras, but several other deputies apparently did not go into the building either. So basically, this Peterson is just the fall guy. I mean, if you hear a guy shooting inside a school with an automatic weapon, what are you gonna do? I mean, in my own mind, I would charge into the school. I feel like that's what I would do. But at the same time, what if he charged into the school and died? Basically, that just added another death to this situation. But at the same time, that's his job, isn't it? His job is to put his life on the line. And like one of the commenters said earlier, you right there, Pro Tools fam, you said, crazy cops are usually aggressive. And I agree with that. So all this time we're complaining about cops being too aggressive. And now we have a cop not being aggressive enough, even multiple cops. So what this drives me to almost want to talk about is police. Look how hard the public is on the police. Look, like, they can't win to lose. They cannot win to lose. But yeah, back to the fire alarm. It's almost way too suspicious that there was a fire drill earlier that day. It almost seems like Cruz was working with someone else. But who was he working with? Well, earlier on in the video, as I brought you more of Cruz's background, like I said, there was the Republic of Florida, which is a white supremacist group. Don't 100% quote me that it's a white supremacist group, but from what I've read, that's what it seems to be. Let me see if I can pull it up. The Republic of East Florida, also known as the Republic of Florida, Territory of East Florida, was chosen as director. See, that's what I thought. I didn't get when they were saying the Republic of Florida. That doesn't make sense to me. I guess it's being used out of context. Because that's not linked to no, or hold on, we have the Republic of Florida Militia. Maybe this is it. Yeah, here we go. Okay, now we're getting into it. The Republic of Florida Militia, U.S., Florida. Background. The Republic of Florida Militia, ROF, appears to be a small neo-Confederate and anti-gun control militia group. Wow. Anti-gun control. Located in the Tallahassee area of Florida. The ROF militia claims to be the armed forces of the Provisional Government of the Republic of Florida and the prime force at arms to protect the Republic. Their self-proclaimed mission is to fight and die for the White Star flag. In April of 2015, they joined with the Anti-Semitic League of the South, LOS, to demonstrate against a Florida state student group, the Students for Democratic Society, SDS, who had burned a Confederate flag in protest of increased KKK recruiting in the Tallahassee area. The ROF counter-protests culminated with the burning a Soviet flag in response to the Confederate flag burning. The current ROF leader seems to be Jordan Jareb. Here we go, guys. So, this was a good article we just found. The current ROF leader seems to be Jordan Jareb, who barely a month after being released from jail on burglary charges, professed his love for Molotov cocktails and recommended a video giving instruction when it's okay to shoot a police officer. The ROF White Star flag is white, charged with a blue fimbriated white star over a blue saltire, I'm probably saying that wrong, from which it is separated with another white fimbriation, which merges into the field. That's describing the flag, guys. Okay, so we're back at this man, Jordan Jareb. And we have figured out now what the Republic of Florida is. It's the Republic of Florida Militia. That's what we were looking up earlier when we were talking about it. So now we'll go back to the article. What? We'll go back to the article where Jordan Jareb has links to Nicholas Cruz.
You done talking about the cop?
We'll come back to the cop in 1 second. See, right here, if you go in, and this is on, major news networks. This isn't just something passed around the internet or on 4chan or something like that. Look, right here we have CBS News. This is what I was telling you guys about. Nicholas Cruz had connection to the Republic of Florida militia ran by Jordan Jareb
from around the globe,
which is a neo-Confederate militia member, leader. And now that you guys understand that, we can jog back to this. I think my computer and everything is running way better now, so we can actually look into things a little bit better. But we're just going to go off the cuff, straightforward, and just have a good talk. But Parkland, Florida. The leader of a white nationalist militia Thursday night appeared to walk back his earlier statements that Florida shooting suspect Nicholas Cruz was a member of his group. Law enforcement in Tallahassee, Florida, that's where the militia is stationed, Tallahassee, Florida, said they had no record of Cruz being a part of their organization. Jordan Jareb, there we go, there's our man again. Jordan Jareb, the leader of Republic of Florida militia, told the Anti-Defamation League, ADL, Thursday that Cruz participated in paramilitary drills in Tallahassee, which is where we just read the militia is located. Someone posting under his name on Gab, which I was talking about Gab earlier. Gab is a social media site like Facebook, but it's very popular among neo-Nazis and neo-Confederates. Someone posting under his name on Gab, a social media site popular with far-right extremists, complained about getting criticized over a prank claimed there was a misunderstanding and said he received a bunch of conflicting information. I'm going to jump ahead here. Jareb told the ADL that Cruz had carpooled with other ROF members, Republic of Florida Militia Group members, from South Florida to participate in the training exercises. Cruz was brought up by another member of the group. So he walked back his statements, but at the same time he gave other conflicting statements. He walked back his statements that Cruz was trained with the Republic of Florida militia group, only to replace it by Cruz was brought up by another member of the group with other ROF members from South Florida to participate in training exercise. So maybe, yeah, that's what he walked back. Sorry about that, guys. Jareb told the Associated Press that his group wants Florida to become its own white ethno-state. You hear this? Do you guys hear this?
But he killed white people.
And we've had 2 mass shootings in Florida. I bet if we looked up what was going on in Florida, I think the KKK was very relevant in Florida. I think that's actually where the KKK is based at, mostly, is in Florida. So what's going on with these white supremacy groups in Florida? Let's continue reading here. Now, this is what I don't understand. Jareb told the Associated Press that his group wants Florida to become its own white ethno-state. He said his group holds spontaneous random demonstrations and tries not to participate in the modern world. Jareb said he didn't know Cruz personally. See, he said he didn't know Cruz personally. That does not mean that that the group did not know Cruz. There was a connection here. Why is the mass media not talking about this?
And it's funny, Jareb says that he acted on his own behalf and he did not know Cruz personally. And if you look down a little bit lower, he also said that Cruz had trouble with a girl He believed that the timing of the attack and carried out on Valentine's Day was not a coincidence.
Yeah, like,
how
how
would
would
he
he know
know that he had trouble with a girl if he did not know him personally, and he's trying to say he acted on his own behalf? How would he know that? And he's saying he was brought up by a member. He's not saying a specific member. He's not acting like he's close to that member, or he's just not saying his name. But how? I mean, if you have trouble with your girlfriend, or you have trouble with a boyfriend, or whatever, who really knows that? I mean, who really truly knows that? Only people that know you know that. I mean, of course, people post on Facebook and whatnot, but it seems like this guy goes from he knows him and this is what he thinks, it's not a coincidence, right back to, oh, well, I didn't know him and he did that on his own, he's not representing us. And in different articles, it states that this man, Jareb, loves publicity, and he's getting enough of it, as you can see, but he's just so all over the place with the statements he gives. It just doesn't make any sense. One day he's this, the next day he's that. One day he's raising a Confederate flag, the next day he's making his own. It just doesn't make any sense.
And then we see in this article right here, this article states, if Cruz's role is confirmed to be a part of the Republic of Florida militia group, the Parkland school shooting would be the second school shooting by a white supremacist in the past 2 months. In December 2017, another young white supremacist, William Atchison, engaged in a shooting spree at a high school in northwest New Mexico, killing 2 students before shooting himself. I don't know if there's a connection there, but here's some more information about the ROF. The Republic of Florida, we already read some of that. The leader of the group is Jordan Jareb. Group members have contacts. Alt-right. At least some of the members of the Republic of Florida appear to have attended the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville in August 2017. Now let's go back and look at Omar Mateen. Let's see if Jordan Jareb, just because I'm curious, let's see if Jordan Jareb said anything about Omar Mateen back when the Pulse nightclub shooting happened. Look up Omar Mateen.
I still want to go back to his wife.
So what we have on Google is okay, I'm not seeing anything related to Omar Mateen, but still there has to be a relation here to what's going on, because if we look up Omar Mateen, his profile on Wikipedia, right here on the right side we can see Omar Mateen, and you read his history here some. What we have is alleged links to terrorist groups. The FBI investigated Mateen in May. Now we're talking about the Pulse nightclub shooter who committed the second worst shooting in American history by a single shooter, behind the Las Vegas shooting, which happened in October. The FBI investigated Mateen in May of 2013 after he made inflammatory remarks while working as a security guard. Mateen has told his co-workers that his family was linked to Al-Qaeda and that he had joined Hezbollah, both rivals of the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant, ISIL, and of one another. Mateen pledged allegiance to ISIL during his 2016 shooting. FBI Director James Comey commented on the contradictions within Mateen's statements. The FBI interviewed Mateen twice after opening an investigation. In these interviews, Mateen admitted to making the statements but explained that he said them in anger because his co-workers were teasing him. After 10 months, the investigation was closed and Mateen determined not to be a threat. Mateen had been placed on a terrorist watch list while the investigation was underway, but he was removed from it afterwards. Mateen came to the FBI's attention again in July of 2014 when he was linked to Monar Mohammed Abu Salah, an American who had traveled to Syria and committed a suicide bombing in late May 2014. The two had been acquainted and attended the same mosque. So we're going to jump back to Cruz, because Cruz stated on Cruz, just so we're not getting confused here, Nicholas Cruz, who was the shooter, the high school shooter that recently shot up the school. Nicholas Cruz, in multiple Snapchat videos, claimed to have been associated with ISIS. Now, I know we've been talking about his connections to neo-Nazis and neo-Confederates. Now, when I was doing my research here, guys, and I was looking up this information, what I was finding out is certain neo-Nazis and neo-Confederate organizations in Florida had the same ideals as certain ISIS members in Florida, almost as though they were helping each other. Now, if you think about that, how similar is neo-Nazi and terrorist way of thought? Think about if those two somehow came together to form a cell.
Well, neo-Nazis are terrorists.
A terrorist cell together. Could this be possible? Mateen had pledged allegiance to ISIL, though analysts noticed that at this point it's anyone's guess as to how involved Omar Mateen was with either Al-Qaeda or ISIS. Mateen had also pledged support for a suicide bomber who claimed to represent the Al-Nusra Front, a Syrian branch of Al-Qaeda and an opponent of ISIS. After Mateen's attack, the FBI determined his computer had been used to watch extremist videos, including beheadings, and to seek information on the Islamic State. His wife knew he watched the jihadist videos, but she did not think much of it because the FBI seemed to have cleared him. A survivor of the shooting said Mateen talked about wanting the United States to stop bombing my country. Hear that? Stop bombing his country, which is Syria. And look what's going on in Syria now. And confirmed that Mateen pledged allegiance to ISIS. And this goes back, as Wikipedia stated right here, his wife knew he watched jihadist videos. Now, as we were talking about earlier, his wife was set to go on trial. His wife was set to go on trial recently. And I'll pull that up. Omar Mateen's wife. Widow of Orlando nightclub shooter Omar Mateen arrested. This is CNN. This was posted on January 17th. That's an old article. I'm going to update Google so we can get the most accurate information this week. Okay, 4 days ago this article was posted. Noor Salman, which is Omar Mateen's wife, or the Pulse nightclub shooter's wife, goes to trial. What did she know?
That was a long time ago. And that's also in Sunrise Ford.
The criminal trial of Omar Mateen's widow begins Thursday in Orlando. Okay, so this was posted on
Last week.
February 28th. What was February 28th date?
28th was Thursday.
Hold on one second, guys. I'm pulling up my calendar here.
What do you guys think about his wife being on trial? I mean, she stated that she knew he watched those videos, but I mean, should she really go down for everything that he did? Do you think she knew everything? I don't really know how I feel about all that yet.
So the criminal trial of Omar Mateen's widow begins Thursday in Orlando, nearly 2 years after he killed 49 people and injured dozens more at Pulse nightclub in the same city. Okay, so that was Wednesday. So this article was wrote the day before the trial begins. And what the shooting that the Cruz shooting happened on, what was it, the 14th, February 14th?
Yeah.
Okay, so February 14th, so we're talking about a week or two here difference. So Salman, 31, was hours away inside the couple's Fort Pierce apartment during the shooting. She was charged with aiding and abetting Mateen's provisions and attempted provision of material support for terrorism, as well as obstruction of justice. Material support for terrorism in this case centers on repeated pledges of allegiance to the Islamic State that Mateen made before and during the shooting. The militant group, also called ISIS, declared a traditional form of Islamic rule known as Caliphate in parts of Iraq and Syria, and has drawn jihadi fighters from across the world. Now, if you don't know what the Caliphate is, I'm sure most of my listeners do, but the Caliphate is basically they want to unite all the Muslim countries in the Middle East under one Muslim flag and basically take that Muslim force and conquer the rest of the world. They claim the attack, which was then the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. The case will be tried. Let's see when the case would be tried. The case will be tried in the Orlando courtroom of Middle District of Florida, Judge Paul G. Byron in the George C. Young U.S. Courthouse, a federal building. Jury selection could take a week. So a week.
Would be Wednesday.
Or about 3 weeks. If convicted on both counts, Salman could face life in prison. So this woman's facing life in prison. So let's see. Think about gang lifestyles. And think about terrorist organizations, okay? If someone goes out and does a hit for the leader of an organization, what's promised to them most of the time? What they're promised or guaranteed is that their family will always be provided for. Think of The Godfather. You know, if you did something for The Godfather, he always provided for you if you went down until the last days of your wife's life or your children's life. So it almost seems like to me there's a connection here between Nicholas Cruz, as I've stated multiple times before, and this trial going on for Omar Mateen's wife. And now driving back to the connections. So we found out the connections with the neo-Nazis and Nicholas Cruz and the Neo-Confederates and the Republic of Florida militia group. Now if we go to the Snapchat post of Nicholas Cruz.
You mean Instagram?
Well, Instagram too. Or I'm sorry, you know what we'll pull up? Classmate of Nicholas Cruz. So classmate of Nicholas Cruz and ISIS.
Joked about guns. That's crazy.
FBI tipster warned Nicholas Cruz could start shooting places up. Something is going to happen, she told an FBI agent. And that was the transcript I obtained that earlier I read in the show, but we were having massive computer failures. This is the transcript, what they're talking about here. See, well, I didn't hear this part. This is interesting. The anonymous tipster raised what she called another red flag on the frantic call: Cruz's proclivity for cutting up small animals. Cruz killed birds, frogs, and critters and posted pictures of the mangled creatures to a second Instagram account. She said, before his biological mother passed away, Cruz brought one of his prey inside. He threw it on his mother's kitchen counter and he started cutting it up, the woman recalled. He started cutting the bird up and his mother Linda said, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I want to see what's inside."
If anybody knows the standard psychopath signs, it is wetting the bed, killing animals, and there's others too, but killing animals is a huge one, because when you're young, if you have some kind of obsession or you're not fazed by killing an animal, that's just a huge red flag. My kids, they get scared if a dog barks at them, or if they see something they think is going to happen to an animal, they get it's natural. It's a natural human response to taken back or feel some type of way if something is going to happen to any species, really. But people that can, or children that can take a bird and slice it and listen to it squeal and they think it's funny, there's something mentally wrong there, and that is a humongous red flag. And that should be a humongous red flag for child services and for mental health units. And 36 visits to him in the past year, and all of this being known, nobody, they had to have caught on to it, but nobody said anything. Nobody did anything. They, I guess, just blew off the fact that he liked to kill animals, and that's just not normal.
No, people called the FBI and people phoned the police.
I'm saying the FBI and child services let it go.
Yeah,
not other people.
Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, that makes me want to believe almost false flag and stuff like that. And I'm really hard on believing false flags. Like, it would take me a lot to really believe a false flag, but to get all this information about Nicholas Cruz and not act on it, like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, here's the video that I played earlier on. I'm going to play it again for you guys. This is where a classmate, which I could not find on Google. I think this video got tucked away. I don't think Google wanted it to be out anymore.
Disturbing new allegations from a former friend of Nicholas Cruz. Ariana Lopez says Cruz stalked her, brought knives to school, and was reported to officials multiple times. She spoke to ABC's Victor Kendo. He joins us now from Parkland. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, George. Yet another person here who says they sounded the alarm about Nicholas Cruz. The student we spoke with says that he would threaten them through text and through social media. But when they first met, she says that there was actually nothing out of the ordinary. Ariana Lopez says her one-time friendship with former classmate and Florida shooting suspect Nicholas Cruz started out as any normal teenage friendship does.
He would tell me about his mom and his brother.
But she says she soon saw traits she describes as disturbing emerge.
He used to sell knives out of his lunchbox, which I thought was insane because you can't have knives. This is a school. He's like, hey guys, want some knives?
As for those haunting social media posts,
he would talk about how he sympathized with Syrian terrorists and that people who oppose them should be killed. He posted pictures of like 15 or more firearms just on his bed. Like this was normal. Like you could even see a hamper in the background. That's how how ordinary this was to him. He talked about killing our parents, our friends, boyfriends, and girlfriends.
Lopez says Cruz would follow her after school. She says she and her friends reported their concerns to school officials multiple times between 2016 and 2017. Broward County Schools has not yet responded to ABC News when asked about her claims. ABC News has learned that Douglas High School disciplined Cruz 25 times, but he remained on campus.
So, see, now I just saw on the famous website, what's that website that claims to show you whether or not information is false or accurate?
What do you mean by, do you think it was Cruz or something else?
Say it again, you weren't up.
What do you mean by, do you guys think it was Cruz or something else? You mean someone else or I'm not sure what that means.
What is the question, Tess? Say it again.
The last comment.
Do I think it was something else?
I don't know what that means.
Well, something I think definitely Snopes, that's the website. Thank you. I think definitely that there was deeper work at play here. I do not believe that none of this is a coincidence. For example, the fire alarm. Just like in the Las Vegas shooting, and I know you guys have been following me since the Las Vegas shooting. Before the Las Vegas shooting, they had drills all over Vegas that I know people are more up on the drills that happened before the Las Vegas shooting, but they were like the same exact drills which occurred during the shooting, and that was before the shooting happened. And now we have a fire drill occurring before the shooting at the school by Nicholas Cruz. It happened, a fire drill happened in the morning, and then as soon as he got to the school, he pulled the fire alarm. coincidences, I don't believe that things could be that coincidental. I believe maybe someone at the school, really, it almost seems like we had the second biggest mass shooting in Florida a couple years ago behind Las Vegas. And now we have this shooting in Florida. And what's this, like the third or the fourth biggest shooting? It almost seems to me, and then how quick authorities came out and disavowed information that claimed that Nicholas Cruz had connections to ISIS, or said they had no information to support that Nicholas Cruz had connections to neo-Confederates or neo-Nazis, when, just as you just saw right there, one of his classmates claimed that she had heard him say he supported ISIS. And then we have Jareb from the Florida militia group claiming that certain members hung out with Cruz on a daily basis, and they won't say that they trained him. Really, it's like they're saving ass. It's almost like Jareb jumped out there and people got mad, and then he had to walk back his statements. Could the police be involved? How deep could this run?
Okay, now he's wondering our theories. I think me and you have two different theories on the whole thing.
What? Go ahead, Mary.
Okay.
Tell him your theory.
As far as if I think it was Cruz or something else, do I think that Cruz had the mental capacity to be able to think this entire thing up by himself and set it all up by himself, given that he did have the mental capacity of a 12-year-old, maybe a 13-year-old? I think he was absolutely infatuated with knives and guns and shooting and killing animals, and like he said somewhere else, or somebody else said, that he wanted to die in a shootout. He wanted to be killing people, but I don't think he was smart enough to come up with that entire plan by himself. I don't want to say that he had 15 people helping him, but I think that if somebody raised some kind of idea in his head, that he took it and ran with it and maybe got some details on how to do it from somebody else. But yes, I do think it was Cruz. I think that he was infatuated with that. I think he was excited about doing something like that. And for him to say now that he's remorseful, it's almost like somebody's telling him to say that, because all the evidence about the things that he enjoys and the things he likes, none of that backs up remorse. None of that does. But I don't personally think that it goes to the extreme of him being involved in this huge conspiracy and shooting up his high school. I think it was way more personal for him than a lot of people are thinking. But I just know a lot about mental health, and autism it's a serious disease, and depression's a serious disease. I don't think people take depression as serious as they should, honestly. That's why people commit suicide daily, just simply over being depressed. And yes, I think it was Cruz, but I do think that somebody was whispering in his ear about how to do it.
Now, what we have here on Snopes is saying that Ocean Parody, a former schoolmate of Cruz. What's up with these names? Have you ever noticed these names? You noticed these names? Remember I was telling you about them? These gotta be fake names. Ocean Parody, or a website or something. Ocean Parody, a former schoolmate of Cruz, corroborated the latter's antipathy towards Islamic extremism and Muslims in general in an interview with Daily Beast. And this is what they claim the classmate said. But you just heard right here that I showed you the video made by who made this video? ABC. This is an ABC video. What Snopes is claiming was Cruz always had his hair short, and had a penchant for wearing patriotic shirts that seemed really extreme, like hating on Islam. Parody said. The suspected gunman would also deride Muslims as terrorists and bombers. What in the hell is going on here? This doesn't make any sense. I just showed you a video on ABC, and this is on LiveLeak. You know, if you ever want to see good videos and good information, LiveLeak is the place to go. LiveLeak just showed you an ABC video where the woman was talking on camera. And then we have on Snopes, they're denying basically that it was a false story. Not only does no evidence, here's what Snopes says, not only does no evidence support any hypothesis that Nicholas Cruz may have been affiliated with the Islamic State, but upon closer inspection, the two pieces of evidence highlighted by InfoWars, Cruz's clothing and the fact that he discussed the phrase Allahu Akbar on Instagram, both actually serve to undermine speculation about any link to an Islamic terror rather than support it, as does his expressed animus towards Muslims and Islam in general. So basically, they just want to tell InfoWars, you're wrong. You're wrong. You know why? Because Snopes is controlled by the same people who control the mass media. And if anybody from Snopes is listening right now, I hope you hear it. Because there's been a lot of articles I've seen on Snopes that tries to debunk things and say they're incorrect, when Snopes has no idea what's correct and what's incorrect. But anyway, going back to now, what I want to talk about some more is the FBI. I just can't get past, or you know what, I'm not even going to go there because we already talked about it. But so is it the gun's fault that Nicholas Cruz shot this school up? You know, I want to play a funny video for you, just to lighten the mood up.
It is really funny.
Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys while you're still watching.
The guy's being very, very sarcastic, but it's true and it's funny.
Let's see what our good friend thinks here. Does the gun walk away? See if it comes up. Here's a good point. Probably not gonna find it, but it's worth the shot.
Just go to your Facebook.
Yeah, I did share it on my Facebook, so I'm gonna go back to my Facebook, which you guys are all gonna see my personal Facebook, and maybe I shouldn't do that.
You're already on it.
It's not a good idea.
Pull it up over here.
Huh?
Bring it up over here.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up off screen for you guys. Hold on one second.
Okay, while he's doing that, what's your guys' stance on the guns? Last night we were talking, and some people think that it's not okay to have 50,000, or to be able to get 50,000 rounds and an assault rifle to have at your house. And some people think guns should be banned altogether. And there's a ton of different opinions on that. And what are your opinions on that?
Alright, I got the video. I got the video. If anybody hasn't seen this video, I suggest you share it, because it needs to be seen and it makes some valid points. And I want to thank the YouTuber who posted this video. I hope we're not about to get kicked again, because as you can see, my computer is starting to act up again. So if we get kicked again, as usual, we will be back on. Sorry, I can't talk right because my tooth is messed up. I'm going to the doctor's tomorrow. Tessa thinks that's hilarious when I bring it up on the air. But yeah, my computer's slowing down. But this guy talks about whether or not the guns control the person. And I'm going to play it for you guys. Check it out.
This is a pistol. To some of you, this is an assault weapon. But in all actuality, this gun shoots the same exact bullets as this gun. They both shoot the exact same caliber. There's no difference in the bullet size. This is an AR-15, what some of you call an assault rifle. This is a 30-06. It's wood, pretty, and it only shoots deer. Here's the bullet for the mean gun that everybody wants to ban. Here's the bullet for the deer rifle that only shoots deer. Here's the mean bullet, and here's the deer bullet. This is a 30-30, a cowboy gun. If I attack someone with a cowboy gun, it automatically becomes an assault rifle. Exactly the same way, if I were to hit someone, this would become an assault 9-iron.
He's not wrong.
Both of these guns will sit here until I move one. This mean black gun is not going to get up and walk away. Oh, come back, gun! I am a law-abiding citizen. So when the robber comes into my house, I'm not going to use a Nerf gun. I will exercise my right to keep and bear arms and protect my family from a threat by any means necessary. And if this video offends you, I suggest you eat a bowl of alphabet soup and choke on the D.
Guy makes some valid points, doesn't he? Now, he raises the important point. Sorry, my computer's loading really slow. I hope you guys can still see us and hear us. I don't know what's going on. We're getting a little bit of issues again. But he raises a very valid point that an AR-15 shoots the same round as a pistol. So, what is the difference between shooting an AR-15 and shooting a pistol? You can get an automatic pistol that could shoot, you know, it could shoot more rounds than the AR-15. You can get an automatic pistol. I forget what it's called. I think it's a Model 18 pistol that can shoot more rounds than an AR-15 if you really wanted to. An AR-15 is a semi-automatic rifle. I'm going to look up what round the AR-15 fires and compare it to other guns. But what do you guys think? Do you think the gun controls the person? Does the gun call the person in the middle of the night like Jumanji with drums and beat on the walls and say, "Come play me, come play me,
Play me?
Yeah, come shoot me"? Does the gun do that? I don't think it does. I don't think we need a full ban on guns. In my understanding, I think, okay, we have technology today to where guns can be properly kept. Correct. In my last video, I talked a little about this. You know, when you go into a pawn shop and the pawn shop can look up a serial number in a database, I'm pretty almost positive that's how pawn shops work. They can look up a serial number in a database and they can see whether or not merchandise that's bought is stolen. I think that similar to that should be a system designed for people who are mentally unstable. I believe when they go to get their background check done, they must have a behavioral assessment, and the gun owner should be able to pull up in his system database, also along with the background check, whether or not this person passed a mental examination. And that's not stepping into the constitutional wrongs. Hold on, we got a visitor here.
Did it go dead? Alright, I'll be out soon.
But that's not stepping on any constitutions. And another thing, and I want to know if you guys agree with this. We have drones today that can fly all over the world. Remote pilot it. You know what I mean? They can fly all the way over to Syria, drop bombs, fly all the way back without a pilot in the driver's seat. You don't think that technology could be invented? It's already invented. It's on your cell phone. It's on your computer, on your mouse pad, on your newest computers. A palm reader. Why can't guns be equipped with a palm reader where it can only be shot with the person who bought the gun?
Just like your iPhone with your thumbprint. Nobody can open up your iPhone to look at your text messages unless they have your thumbprint or your fingerprint. But you can use an AR-15 without anything. Why do they put the technology into cell phones and computers, and they don't put it into what actually hurts people the most?
Why do you think that? Why do you think they don't do that?
I think they think it's an invasion of privacy. And somebody said that last night. That's not necessarily what I think. I don't really know my stance on that yet. Somebody last night said they think that's an invasion of privacy and that that's not the gun store's problem. Now, if I owned a gun store,
you mean the gun manufacturer's problem?
No. Somebody said that they think the owner of the gun shop should be the person. Well, yes, as far as the technology part, but
yeah, it does. It wouldn't be the gun store.
That's not what I'm... Okay, yes, the manufacturer, they should
there you go.
Invest more money into putting some kind of technology into who can use that gun or how they can use it.
But why do you think that hasn't been implemented already? I'm curious. What is your reason why that hasn't been done already?
I don't think there is a good enough reason.
The only reason I arise at why that hasn't been done already is because gun manufacturers don't want to spend that much money on putting a palm or a thumb reader on a gun. They would have to completely change their manufacturing process. It would completely upset that whole system. And the NRA and these gun manufacturers pay way too much money to politicians.
That's a good point.
Pay way too much money to politicians. Yeah, exact. Guns may have problems if digital. Yes, that's correct.
Maybe your fingerprint could take safety off.
But at the same time, how many lives could it save? Yeah, a person can return a gun, but you can't return a life. So how many problems, how many lives could that save just by making sure that a gun purchased at a store can't be sold on the street to a nut case? But even driving back to the shooting that occurred in Florida, the recent school shooting, even driving back to that, he purchased his guns outright at the store. So did Stephen Paddock in the Las Vegas shooting. And Omar Mateen, I'm pretty sure Omar Mateen purchased his weapons straight at the store. How is that possible? So you're telling me that this 18-year-old kid, Nicholas Cruz, was able to pass a background check when he had the brain capacity of a 12-year-old?
He was 18.
Yeah, but he had to pass a background check.
A background check, meaning a criminal background check, which is why they should start implementing mental health background checks.
I think it's more than just a criminal background check, though.
It's a very thorough background check, yes, but they do not put your mental status on that check.
I thought that it was like you had to. You don't take a mental examination.
They're not professionals to determine if you're mental.
Does anybody know the answer to this question? Do you have to take a mental examination when you go to get your gun license? When you buy a gun, do you have to?
I think it's a questionnaire.
A mental.
But even last night I said, they sit there and they take the time to look up your background check. You could have stole something from a store and it looks bad on your background and you could be schizophrenic and they'll give you a gun for never having stolen candy, but they have no idea you're schizophrenic. That doesn't make any sense to me as to why they would not take the extra 30 seconds to at least release it to the FBI or to some kind of database where if you're going to buy something as serious as a gun or a weapon that can kill people and will kill people, why can't they just take the extra couple of seconds to see if your mental status has been deemed anything wrong with it?
But how would they implement that? I don't understand. You know how many people could fake a test? I mean, online or in a store. You could take your friend and walk into the gun store and and get him to answer the questions.
But at
like,
least
how would that be implemented?
Even, okay, if people, just like kids going to get cigarettes, they get somebody older to get them a pack of cigarettes. You can always do that. But if somebody goes in who is mentally ill and they've been in a mental institution or they've been on psychotic meds and they're psychiatrists, everything goes into a database. It's just like your medical records. It all goes in. I don't understand why a mental illness with as serious as they can get is not implemented in when you buy a gun.
I understand, but what is an answer to that? I'm trying to find some answers here.
Answer to what?
How could we implement it? Say we had the power to change the system. Exactly. And who determines the mentally acceptable? If we had the power tomorrow to change the current state of gun laws and gun license registration, how could mental be incorporated into that?
Well, I think that's where me and yours combine, because if you get somebody else to get the gun and you put the technology on the gun of that person's fingerprint, then they can't give it to anybody else.
I think that each gun I think that instead of allowing gun licensing, I think that I think in allowing gun licenses, I think it should go through. No, it couldn't go through that. Basically, I think that we should change the laws. See, it's such a tough debate, guys. I think maybe, I was going to say maybe we could change it to the FBI, where if you wanted to purchase a gun, you had to get a mental examination through the FBI. But at the same time, that just opens huge criticism to say that the government is restricting guns, and people don't trust the FBI today. I don't trust the FBI.
But psychiatrists are trained for a reason. They're trained in that. And even
psychiatrist is different. I'm talking about the FBI.
Well, no, because he said who determines. A psychiatrist determines mental illness.
Yeah, but then you're saying that either the government is going to have to hire this huge labor force of psychiatrists
not if it's already in the database.
Yeah, but they have to go see the psychiatrist first to get in the database.
Which usually starts as an adolescent.
It wouldn't start as an adolescent. A kid wouldn't be going to get a gun test.
No. The record would be from adolescence.
See, I wasn't thinking like that. I was thinking more like when they go to get their gun license, they get an examination.
Anybody can hoax. Anybody can con their way out of that.
No, I'm talking about that they have to go see a doctor. Maybe they have to see their own medical doctor. Maybe it'll be paid for by the government. What the government maybe could do is come out and say, if you want to get a gun, we'll refund in your taxes every year the cost to get a medical checkup for your mental state at your doctor. I mean, they're trying to make healthcare free as it is. So I don't know if somehow.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna break this in layman's terms. If you are in therapy,
I understand
and with
what
this,
you're saying.
no, what I'm trying to say is you can do I think that it is realistic that they're gonna catch everybody that has a mental illness? Absolutely not. But I think that they should have some type of way of seeing if a particular person has been through, and I'm not saying you have to look at their notes of their therapist or any notes from a psychiatrist, but if the psychiatrist has said this person has manic depression, or this person is schizophrenic, this person is bipolar and has been bipolar for X amount of years, or has been on medication and has been successful for X amount of years, any of that should be available to the to the gun store. It should be available on the records. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that every person that walks in should have some mental health evaluation, because personally, I don't think a one-time evaluation works. I think you have to see them over time. You have to watch the behavior. You have to see the episodes. And maybe they get a gun before that happens, and that's sad, and that's just the truth and the reality. But Maybe they don't, and maybe you catch it before they have the chance to have a manic episode. I don't.
No, I agree with you. If a person has a past history of mental illness, I still believe, I don't believe you can just shut those people out. I mean, everybody deserves to have their own protection if they want. That's their free right, and that's written into the Constitution, whether you have a mental illness or not. So what it comes down to is, yes, that's going to look bad on the report. That means they just need more thorough looking over by a therapist or someone when they go to obtain their license. So I think definitely there needs to be a bridge between mental state and gun licensing.
Yes, and there's definitely mental limitations, but those limitations can extend to if you buy a gun. I'm not saying if you want to go get a BB gun or if you want to show your ID to get a fisher's license, they need to see if you're mental. I'm saying if you're going to go buy a gun or an assault rifle or anything like that, yes, I think that limitation, it shouldn't go that far. I don't think that it should be limited for them to not be able to see that when they hand you a gun. I just don't think that should be correct.
Okay, so what we have for the United States is Federal Gun Control Act 18 U.S.C. 922 1968. Mental illness, yes. Drug abuse, yes. Alcohol abuse, no. Mental health database, yes. Title I of the Gun Control Act of 1968 was to ban mail-order sales of firearms and ammunition, confine the purchase of firearms to the buyer's state of residence, and prohibit certain classes of persons from purchasing, receiving, or transporting firearms or ammunition in interstate commerce. Individuals educated as a mental defective or who has been committed to any mental institution, addicted to, or an unlawful, sorry, that's kind of a tongue twister. God. Sorry, guys. I can't talk right for some reason tonight. Addicted to or an unlawful user of marijuana or a stimulant, depressant, or narcotic drug.
See, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
What? You don't agree with what?
I don't think if you...
I gotta look this word up.
Like, if you're an unlawful user of marijuana, you can't get a gun. I think that's a little ridiculous. I think that goes above... Yes, I think that should be in limitations. I think if you got busted for a dime bag of weed, that's just completely ridiculous for them to say no to you for that, especially if it's something that happened 10 years ago. But I am strictly talking about bipolar, schizophrenia, autism even, because you are not in anything where you're not in the right mental capacity. It's a very, very easy thing to see and look up. Just like your background check criminally, they can make it just as easy to see that. And I'm only talking about mental diseases. And you could add addiction in that. Some people don't even think that's a disease. But there are diseases that make people go crazy. They really are. And
right.
You can't...
But is that what it's really saying? I don't really fully get what it's saying about the drugs.
I don't know. I mean, drugs make people crazy. I understand that. Crack makes you get naked and lay down on the street. But I don't understand.
Wow, crack makes you get naked.
You never
and lay
saw
on the
those
street.
videos? Watch the Baltimore Lean one time. I think
mean,
I'd put a gun in his hand. You don't know what to do with it. But
excuse that if there's anybody out there who smokes crack.
I'm sorry.
We don't mean to put you down.
Total stereotypical comment. Yeah, no, I'm not putting it down whatsoever. Okay. I'm just saying, as far as the background check goes, I think that should be added.
So, for Florida, what's stated here is the applicant must not be acquitted of a crime by reason of insanity or adjudicated as an alcoholic within the past 5 years, committed to a mental hospital within the past 5 years.
That's ridiculous.
It is unlawful for the following persons to own, possess, or use any firearm: drug addicts, alcoholics, mental... Hold on a second here, though. But hold on, it continues. Let me continue. Incompetents and vagrants. The Department of Agriculture shall issue a license if the applicant has not within a 3-year period preceding submission of the application, been convicted of a crime of violence, or committed for drug abuse, or been convicted of a minor drug offense, has not been adjudicated an incapacitated person unless he has waited 5 years from the date of his court-ordered restoration to capacity, or been committed to a mental institution unless he possesses a psychiatrist's certificate that he has not suffered from the disability for 5 years and is not chronic or habitual drunkard. Habitual drunkard.
Habitual drunkard.
But what I don't get is, did we not read that Nicholas Cruz was put into a mental institution?
See, I think that crosses where he was a juvenile, and that is a parent's decision unless they do something crazy.
No, but what I'm saying here is Florida's statute on gun laws, on what their interpretation of them are, is the applicant must not be acquitted of a crime by reason of insanity or adjudicated as an alcoholic within the past 5 years, cannot be committed to a mental hospital within the past 5 years. So
now,
the story about Nicholas Cruz was that his mother passed away back in November, and he inherited all this money from his mother's passing. Like, he was supposed to get $25,000 like
every year.
From
age 24 to 30.
Yes, something like that. His mother did have money. But there was multiple organizations, mental institutions, who came into his life to try to help him and evaluate him. And now we're seeing here that Florida statute is that a person can't buy a gun who has been committed to a mental hospital within the past 5 years leading up to when they purchased the gun. No, but what I'm saying is, so the person, whoever he bought the gun from, are they not breaking the statute? Why is the media not reporting this?
Unless autism's not counted, or depression wasn't documented, or something of that nature had to have happened. And as far as that, after 5 years of being in a mental institution, that's ridiculous. Mental illnesses are lifelong illnesses. They don't just go away. If you're bipolar, you might go a couple years without having an episode, and then bam, you're manic. You might get depressed and life is great, and it rains one day, or your mother dies, or your girlfriend breaks up with you, and you go into a manic depressive state, and you think the world hates you, nothing's worth it, and you kill yourself. There's plenty of that. I don't understand. If you haven't been in a mental hospital in 5 years, they hand you a gun. That is ridiculous to me.
Can you answer some of these comments right here, Tess? I'm going to be right back, guys.
You're clearly not checking people correctly. This shooting happened because they have an agenda.
Yes, his brother, yes, they can hold you for up to 72 hours, but as a juvenile for 12. He was held for 12 and let go. His brother regrets bullying him, is what he says. Now, there's about, well, I'm not even going to give a percentage, because I think just about everybody's been bullied in some type of form in their lifetime, but everybody's been bullied at some point in their life by somebody, and especially if you have older siblings, that's just ridiculous to say, oh, it's my fault because I smacked him around when we were kids and hurt his feelings, so it's my fault that he shot up a school and killed 17 people. That's ridiculous to me. But again, that's my opinion, and everybody has their own opinion. Opinions change with circumstance.
Look, I was bullied.
Yeah, they're clearly not checking people correctly, and I'm telling you, that 5-year mental thing, I would go on strike with that. I would go on protest with that so fast.
Look, I was bullied all my younger days. I went to basically a different elementary school every year that I went to elementary school. And not to put my mom down, I love you to death. Wasn't her fault. Wasn't no one's fault. It was just the situation of my life. But I was bullied every year till about 7th grade. Every year. And that never made me want to walk into a school and shoot someone. Like, it never made me think like that. I don't know how that could be even come in comparison in someone's mind.
I mean, I was in ninth grade. I was homeschooled till ninth grade, and in ninth grade, I was followed down the hallways by seniors screaming that I had incest, which is not true. But they bullied me the entire year. They ruined my high school life. But I never, I mean, yeah, I thought about smacking them, but I never thought about hurting other people because they did stuff or said stuff that was totally, that brought detectives to my house. And even like that, okay, they chased me down the hallways or followed me down the hallways, bullying me. And detectives were they investigated it so hard, and it wasn't true what they were saying, but they investigated that so hard, and they did not leave me alone for 2 years. And somebody as sick as him, I can't get over that he had 36 visits from different people, and none of them stayed on him about it.
And if there's anybody out there who was bullied or is being bullied, you can always find a home here with us. Like when I was being bullied, a lot of times while I was being bullied also, which is a whole nother conversation in itself that could be talked about, but we're not going to talk about it here. But most of the time when I was being bullied, the reason I was being bullied was because I stood up for those who were being bullied. I did that all the time, and like I said, if you ever need a home, you can find it right here. But one of the commenters brought up the Baker Act, the Florida Mental Health Act, commonly known as the Baker Act, which allows involuntary institutionalization and examination of an individual. Can I hit it?
You're talking.
Basically, what that means is you can, if you feel like someone is completely out of their mind, you can get them put into a mental institution or forced into a mental institution so they can be examined for possibly having a mental illness. This was enacted on the Florida shooter, Nicholas Cruz. I'm going to read a little bit of this article for you. Crisis workers from a South Florida mental health facility were called in 2016 to hold alleged gunman Nicholas Cruz for a psychiatric evaluation after he sent out a Snapchat video in which he cut his arms and said he wanted to buy a gun, according to a mental health report. But after speaking with Cruz, Henderson behavioral health professionals chose not to hospitalize him. According to a November 2016 Florida Department of Children and Families investigative report obtained by NBC News. The department officially released the report Tuesday after NBC News published details from it. An individual had alerted Henderson Behavioral Health to come to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School to evaluate Cruz for possible detainment under the Baker Act, which allows authorities to hold individuals against their will for up to 72 hours. According to the 2016 report, those 17 and younger can be held for 12 hours. Here's a video. I'll play the video. This is the teacher. See if it has anything to do with what we're talking about. Or no, I'm not going to play it because it's got the advertisement on it. But the Florida Department of Children and Families was alerted after Cruz sent out a Snapchat video in which he cut both of his arms and shared his intention to go out and buy a gun. According to the report noted that Mr. Cruz has fresh cuts on both his arms and that in 2015 he had a Nazi symbol drawn on his book bag. Now this is new information, guys. Going back to when we were talking about the neo-Nazis and the neo-Confederates. I'd never even heard this before. This is new information. So he had a Nazi symbol drawn on his book bag, and he had hate signs on a book bag stating, "I hate the N-word." Everybody knows what the N-word is here. Guys, there's a YouTuber who just put a video out, and he found that with the Vegas shooting, the round pillar in the room is different from that floor. Huh, that's interesting. I'll have to look into that. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to look into that. Cruz allegedly killed 17 students and staff members in it. So basically what it boils down to is Cruz had a connection to the neo-Nazis and neo-Confederates in Florida. It's basically proven. But what I want to get back to is, so right there he was admitted to a psychological facility. I don't even know if I said that right. He was admitted to a mental institution. How did he go and buy the guns? I want to see where he bought the guns, and is the FBI or police doing anything about this? Where did Nicholas Cruz buy his guns? I keep putting the E on his name. Florida school shooting. Rifle used by Nicholas Cruz was bought legally. Okay, where was it bought? This is the article from USA Today. The suspect in the Florida school shooting bought the AR-15 style rifle used in the attack legally a year ago, authorities said Thursday. Okay, where?
Sunrise Tactical Supply.
Cruz lawfully bought the semi-automatic rifle last February, according to Peter Forcelli, special agent in charge of Miami office of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive. The gun, a Smith & Wesson MMP 15.223, was purchased at Sunrise Tactical Supply, according to the Associated Press. Federal law allows people 18 and older to legally purchase long guns, including this kind of assault weapon, with no criminal record. Cruz cleared an instant background check via the FBI criminal database. If someone is adjudicated mentally defective or has been committed to a mental institution, he is prohibited from possessing a firearm under federal law. Florida Governor Rick Scott said at a news conference Thursday that he would discuss with legislator next week increasing funding for mental health services and keeping guns out of the hands of the mentally ill. If someone is mentally ill, they can't have access to a gun, Scott said. Melissa McNeil, his public defender, described Cruz in the initial court appearance Thursday as a broken child who suffered brain development problems and depression. Gun buyers are seldom turned down because of mental illness. From 1998 to 2014, the FBI rejected 16,669 potential gun buyers because a background check found a mental health adjudication. About 1.4% of the roughly 1.2 million background checks that resulted in a denial. Mental health entered the debate after the 2007 Virginia Tech shooting. The gunman in the case had been treated at a Virginia hospital on the grounds that he might be a danger to himself or others. He was nonetheless able to pass a background check. After that, a lot of states moved to supply the FBI and their own background check databases with records about people with mental illness.
I'm almost positive that it is you have to fill out a paper, and the paper...
What I don't get is USA Today right there just stated that all of his life he had issues with his mental state all of his life.
Right.
And he passed the background check, but what happened to the mental check?
Because they actually do a background. They hand you a piece of paper. You check on have you ever committed a felony? Yes or no? Have you ever been in a mental institution? Yes or no? If yes, what was the reason? Were you found mentally, whatever? If you mark no, I guess that there's no database that they're looking up to see if you are mentally ill. I believe they are basing it off of your answers on a questionnaire. Just like if you have a felony. If you mark no, they look you up and they find out you do. That happened to my dad. They came and raided our house and took all the guns.
So, how can we fix this, Tess? So, should we...
Put mental health into the database.
No, I know that. But I'm saying, should we force people to have to go to their private care doctors and get a mental health checkup before allowing them to get a weapons license? Do you agree with that?
To an extent, but like I said, I don't think one time tells you anything about somebody unless they're truly insane.
one time they're seeing their own home care doctor. So their own home care doctor had seen them all their life.
My
like
home
you're
care
saying.
doctor knows nothing about my mental status. She knows my physical status.
You don't know nothing about your mental state.
Well, once I asked to see a psychiatrist and I talked about my depression, then yes.
Your private care doctor should be able to pull your mental state through your psychiatrist, pull your records up.
Which is entirely my point, that gun stores should be able to do the same. But right now, because of limitations, they can't.
Right, but gun stores isn't the problem, though. What the problem is, they need to be checked before they buy the gun.
Yes, they do.
They need to be checked at the moment they're buying the gun. I understand the past history, but you can't outlaw everybody just because they have a history of mental illness.
If it's a lifelong illness, yes, you can.
So you're saying we're going to outlaw everybody who has a mental illness.
A lifelong mental illness.
Let's say, okay, a lifelong mental illness. Let's say someone had, I forget what the disease is.
I'm not talking about anxiety.
Let's say a person had epilepsy, but they had epilepsy when they were from age 8 till they were age 14. But then the epilepsy stopped at 14. So you're going to say that person's never allowed to own a gun?
No, if it's documented it was stopped.
But he has a history of mental illness.
Okay, you are not getting this mental illness thing.
No, I am getting it.
Okay. Bipolar doesn't stop. Schizophrenia doesn't stop. Depression does not stop.
I understand that certain mental illnesses should stop you. If you're still fighting a mental illness at that time when you go to apply for a license, then yes, you should be stopped. And that's why I'm saying at the moment you go to apply for your license, you need to be medically checked. That's the only way that's going to solve this problem. That's the only answer to solve this problem. And I guess the only way to do that is to reimburse people in their taxes or cut taxes or do something. Pay the government will have to shell out the money to pay for the people up front who pass, if they say they fail their mental state checkup while applying for their license. If they fail, then they have to pay for it. But if they pass, then the government will refund you your money in your taxes at the end of the year, or work out some form or system where maybe you can get discounts in your medical bills or something like that. And ammunition, I think that no one should be regulated on how much ammunition you can buy or on how much guns you can buy. I think if you reach a point where in this system it shows up, just like they do on airlines, when a person constantly is flying back and forth from a country, it starts to seem suspicious to them, to certain airports. So they might check you why you keep flying back and forth from this country so much.
I meant manic depression, I'm sorry, not just depression.
So they pull the person aside and they ask them why you're doing that, and they check them, and a lot of times they catch most people who are trafficking drugs. So I think that people who are buying a lot of ammunition and a lot of guns, I think there should be another level. Okay, he's reached this level in how much he's purchased. Now he needs to give reasons for why he's doing that. See, but I don't even like that rule myself. I don't even like saying that myself, because that almost feels like I'm taking away the constitutional right of you being able to bear arms. Like, I don't feel like it should be questioned why you're buying so many guns. I mean, that's a tough debate on why you're buying so many guns. Like, I think back to people who have bunkers, who are stocking up bunkers in case the worst was to happen. They're going to buy a whole bunch of guns, and they're going to buy a whole bunch of ammunition to stock up their bunker with. So, I don't know. That's a tough debate. What are you trying to pull up, Tess?
No, that I didn't. Like earlier when I said it's on circumstances, opinion, I only say depression because I have literally in the chain of my family, depression has made 4 of them shoot themselves in the head. So that's what made depression come out of my mouth. I don't mean that depression never ends. I don't mean that I didn't mean to say that. That was wrong of me to say. Depression does end and it can end. I mean more of the manic depression, the suicidal and the homicidal type depression, and mainly bipolar and schizophrenia is what I'm talking about.
What's up, Chris? I had to say what's up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Chris, we're not really having a debate on gun control. Like, basically, we both have said that we don't believe guns. I mean, we didn't even really talk about it like that tonight. We don't believe that guns should be taken away from citizens in no way, shape, or form. You agree, correct?
Yes.
Like, we're talking about the safety of guns, like how to make sure that the right people are buying guns and not people who have a history of mental illness, or people who like are trying to figure out a way when someone's going to try to purchase a gun, a system that could be implemented that people would have to go through in order to prove that their mental state is on par to own a weapon. And I was just getting ready to get into the subject about like people who have bunkers. They stock up a lot of guns. Like, I don't know how you could regulate ammunition. That's a tough subject. And I really feel like guns should do a way better job with how to identify bullets. I think every bullet that is made at a warehouse should have, I don't even know if they do this 100% for sure or not, but every bullet should have a unique marking on it. And that unique marking, see, that doesn't even make sense because a bullet can go in different guns, so yeah, that wouldn't even make sense. But I think we have technology today. I think we'll move on from the gun debate for now, but I think we have technology today where you could put a thumb scanner on a gun, just something where you put your finger on it or something like that, and it could make sure that whoever bought that gun is the only person able to fire that gun, or the person who purchased that gun is able to give the ability to other people to fire that gun. I'm not saying restrict all guns just to that person, and yes, that can be extorted, but then you know that if that person gave another person the code to his gun to be able to shoot it, then you know who you're going straight back to if a situation occurs where a mass shooting incident happens. You know who you're going straight after. And another thing.
Go ahead.
No, I was thinking. I don't know, but moving on from that subject, yeah, people definitely need to know the truth about gun control. So what I was thinking was, why don't we move into the Vegas shooting? So why is it that, and I'm looking at the comments feed here, I'm watching you guys, let's have a talk if you want. I'm watching you guys in the comment feed over here. I got it over on my other screen. I got two screens hooked up here where I can see what you guys are saying on the right, and then you guys can see what I'm putting on the left. I haven't put nothing on the screen on the left over here, but what I wanted to know is, why is it that Las Vegas police have been yet to release any security camera footage from the Mandalay Bay, from the Four Seasons, from any of the traffic cameras which were around the festival as it was happening, any camera? I remember after the Las Vegas shooting happened, I got online and I literally tried to look up every webcam I could find in Las Vegas just so I could see if I could rewind it back and see if I could capture something. I swear to God, I poured through hundreds of cameras around Las Vegas just to see if I could find one camera that I could rewind back and see maybe Stephen Paddock entering the hotel, see maybe the highway behind Stephen Paddock. And you know what's funny? Every camera I got to that was close to the Mandalay Bay or close to the Four Seasons was offline, or it couldn't be rewind. Now, why is it that we haven't had one person come forward and give us these videos? I see you, Chris.
That means somebody would have to kill somebody.
None of that will work. The only thing that would decrease gun violence is to punish the person who uses a gun to kill, an eye for an eye. I agree. I mean, I agree. I believe if unless it's in self-defense, if you shoot a person in cold blood, I totally agree. You believe that I agree that you deserve to die. Unless there's a situation where you had to defend yourself, I completely agree. Yeah, Paula Noose. I don't think they'll ever release anything, any kind of, a couple of people in our group are concerned that you want to move on from investigating the Vegas shooting. I don't think they will. No, it's not that I wanted to move on from investigating the shooting in Las Vegas. I just got really busy, caught up in my day life, setting up the new studio. Now that you guys can hear me, and it's just I got taken away from it for a while, but I'm still investigating it, and now I'm going to be doing live videos. So I mean, this is the first time that I've done videos like this on YouTube. I've never had a YouTube that was successful the way Truth Tracker was, to be honest with everybody, and I love you guys and I thank you all for it. And I'm trying to figure out the best method here to run the live channel and to make the videos, because
what about the video you showed last night?
Yeah, like I showed a video last night about a reflection I was seeing on the white bleachers next to, in the Rare First Shots video, if you look to the left of the white bleachers, right when the first shot goes off. Yeah, I do have it. I could pull it up. Or no, I don't think I could pull it up. Let me see. Or yeah, I could probably pull it up. So look, I'll pull it up on YouTube.
Believe me, he has not strayed away from the Vegas shooting.
Yeah.
Believe me. Please.
So I'm going to pull up the Rare First Shots video. So you guys tell me what you see here. I think I found a reflection of the shooter when he fires his first round. Right? Let me see. Now, as you can see, we'll get into the Vegas shooting. Make sure my mic volume's up for you guys. Now, in my earliest videos, as you can see on the screen right here, let me make sure you can see it. In my earlier videos, this light that comes in from the left of the Mandalay Bay passes behind the two towers that were supposed to be a Ferris wheel. Passes behind them, passes over top of the stage, and goes right here where my mouse pointer is. The cross behind Mandalay Bay. One thing I learned about this that's interesting. Well, two things. I ran the radar on what this aircraft is. Okay? And it lined up with a plane from Southwest Airlines, I think it was. But the strange thing about this is, when this light passes behind the Mandalay Bay, it comes out over here to the east of the Mandalay Bay, and then it goes to the north. Now, what do you guys think? I'm curious what your opinion is. Do you think that could be a plane passing behind the two towers, passing behind the Mandalay Bay, and taking off like my mouse watch like this? So basically taking this path. I just don't think that's correct, because you figure if it's this high in altitude where it's at right now, it would continue upward. So we would see this light the entire time. This light seems to turn right and go east of the Mandalay Bay and then cut back behind the Delano, like it's going into a loop almost. It's coming in like this, then cutting back behind the Mandalay Bay. Now, like I said, I identified this on radar as a plane, but deep down, I don't believe it's a plane. I really don't believe it's a plane. I think this is a helicopter, and it has lights on it that flash like a helicopter. Now, I'm going to go forward. When this light gets in between the Mandalay Bay and the Delano, right here where my mouse is right now, and the first shot is fired, I think it's the first shot.
It is the first shot.
When the first shot is fired, right here on this building, if you guys can see it, yeah, see my mouse, right here on this building, you'll see a flash. Now, I want you to pay attention to this building as this helicopter flies in, or supposed helicopter, because you will not see this flash other than when the first shot is fired. So pay attention, guys. Did you guys see that?
No.
There was a flash right across this white part of the building. I'm trying to trace where this flash came from. Now on my desktop, if you're on a desktop and you're watching YouTube, you can actually slow down the video. So I'm going to really slow it down. And I want you guys to pay attention right here. It's going to play for a minute. Oh, we went way back.
I was going to say, why can't you hear it?
Because the reason why you can't hear it right now, guys, is because when you slow it down this slow, the sound on YouTube cuts off.
It didn't on 50%.
I know, I don't want to go to 50%. Okay, so right here you're going to see the helicopter that I believe is the helicopter. It's going to come out from beside the Mandalay Bay. Now watch right here. You're not going to be able to hear the shot, but watch right here on the white building. Keep watching. Keep watching. You can still see the helicopter over there, but keep watching the white building. Just about here. It should be the first shot. Watch right here. See that flash? Let's play it back a little bit. Watch right here, under the balcony. Can you see it? You see it now? Right here. Right there. Right there is where the flash occurs. Right here. I'm going to play it again for you. Watch again. Helicopter's right here. First shot's going to be fired in a moment. And watch my mouse. Right there. Did you see that flash of light? Now I'm gonna up the speed a little bit so you can hear the sound with this flash of light. This is still slowed down. There's the helicopter. There's the helicopter on the right. Now watch right where my mouse is. You'll hear the first shot. And it's almost delayed. Boom. Did you see that flash? Let's watch again. Watch right up here. Flash. What do you guys think caused that flash?
It's really, really hard to see. Even on a desktop, you have to be in slow motion to see it. But it is there. Yeah, I guess on your phone would be really hard.
Let me see if I can take it out of full screen mode. And so I know it's not cut off for you guys. I'm going to play it back one more time. See my mouse? Right here. Now watch right up here. See that flash? It occurs right here, and it doesn't occur any other time. Go back again. See it? Watch right in that area. See that flash? see it that time, Chris?
Paula couldn't either.
Alright, I got you guys. But there's a flash right there. And lately, that's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to trace that flash and where it occurred. I've also been doing a lot of audio analyzing on
if
the
you listen right after is where the doubles start.
Yeah, like in my version of this video, which I can't pull up right this second, but I was able to completely isolate single fire rifle sounds and automatic fire.
Chris couldn't, Paula could.
Okay. Yeah, that flash, I've been doing tracing of light reflections across the festival. But going back, I'm going to play it in full speed, see if you guys can see it now. Watch up on the white building. Now, you just saw the flash, you can see it. Now I hear 9 distinct shots before the automatic volley of fire. 9 distinct shots. I also noticed another strange thing that I'm curious about, which could be just coincidental, but I don't ever find anything coincidental, okay? If you look back here, while the shooting is taking place, there is a police car already parked back here with its lights on. Who are these guys? Let me see something. So I'm almost curious if the early reports of the person who was supposedly in the crowd shouting out that you're all gonna die tonight got pulled out of the concert on the west side of the festival.
Don't forget about the ninja snipers.
And yeah, Chris, when I analyzed the Vegas shooting in my audio analyzing program, and I use the best program out now. I use Pro Tools to analyze audio now, and I have Final Cut Pro, which is what the movie industry uses to make all its movies. When I analyze the audio, these first couple shots sound like they come from the right side of the cameraman, which would be the far west side of the concert, which would be almost right in the same direction where your guy in black got up on top of that camper and ran across the top of it towards the south end. Yeah, right? Well, if you're looking at the stage, to the south of the stage, towards the back road. Alibaba, I think the road is. But I want to show you another thing. This one is really good. I want to show you something really, really suspicious. No, I'm not going to show you that. But, oh, the devil one? Yeah, see the devil one. Stay down. Now, remember how the big debate was, is there a helicopter over top of the festival that you cannot see? Well, one night, while I was examining the Rare First Shots video.
No, they don't sound like they're that far away.
When you hear those first shots under like good audio, like putting it under an equalizer, compressing it down, removing the hum and everything, those shots sound extremely close to the cameraman. But I want to show you guys something really interesting. Let me see if I can spot it here in this video. Remember that we theorized that there was a helicopter flying over top of the festival. You want to see something really sketchy, guys? Something really good? Watch right here. And I just had noticed this. Pay attention to the sky. Pay attention to the sky where my mouse is right now. The cameraman is going to turn right, and then he's going to walk up the road, and you're going to see the sky to the left of him. Pay attention to the sky to the left of him. Tell me if you see anything. Now look to your left. at the sky, past the lights. Keep your eyes on the sky. Keep your eyes on the sky. Did you see a light in the sky?
Yeah.
Let's play it back. Pay attention to the sky to the left.
Gotta be, right? Yeah.
Now I'm going to try to pause this so you can see it. Hitting my boot. I'm going to try to pause this. Hold on.
Go, go, go.
I'm trying to pause this for you guys.
Right above the crowd. They're right above the first shots. It's recorded
Right
from
there.
behind Jason Aldean.
Do you see this? Keep your eyes right there. See that light? Go back a little bit.
Go, 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 go.
Watch my mouse. Can't even keep up with it. It's so hard to keep up with. Let's play it back.
Go, 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 go.
Keep your eyes in the sky to the left. Right there.
Gotta be, right? Yeah.
Go back a little bit. See if we can slow it down. See if we can see what this is.
Go, 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 go.
Slow motion.
Gotta be, right? Yeah.
Looking at the video.
Gotta be, right? Yeah.
Right at the same time where that helicopter sound gets really strong. There's Chris's black. I don't know if all the viewers have seen this, but Chris Lynch pointed this out. If you watch right here, you can see it really good in this video. This is the HD version.
Gotta be,
I
right?
hope you guys can see it as good as I can.
Yeah.
Watch right here. Right here. Right there. That almost looks like an army guy with a ghillie suit on, running across the roofs. Pay attention right where I just showed you. This is high definition video playback. Right there. Right here. Highly suspicious. Dressed in all black. Looks like he's got a cape draping from his back. When he first stands up, he has a gun. Looks like pointed from the front of him. Oh, YouTube just blocked me. YouTube just blocked me.
Content issues detected. Copyrighted audio?
You had 13 on that one. This is copyright?
Yep.
It's YouTube.
They completely blocked me from being able to go live, too. Now, isn't that funny, guys? I got kicked. YouTube will not allow me to play the Rare First Shots video on a live video. Yup. YouTube will not allow me to play it. I guess because of censorship. I don't understand it. I have multiple videos on my YouTube channel of the Rare First Shots video. You know what? Let's play another video. Let's see if they kick me then.
Well, they're looking at you now.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how they act?
I didn't even hit it yet.
Here, let's get the latest on the Las Vegas shooting. So I can play videos all night of CNN live and everything else, but I can't play a video that was taken with a cell phone of the shooting. No problem, man. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys watching. It's been like this all night. Every time I get on here lately, I'm getting shut off. Earlier, my computer shut down. I lost all my notes. Everything went haywire on me.
Vegas.
Sorry, I'm reading your comments. So this is the latest articles on the Las Vegas shooting. Florida shooting revives Vegas survivors' trauma.
Wow.
Florida school shooting suspect Nicholas Cruz had swastikas on his ammunition. Nothing, look. There's nothing on YouTube about the Las Vegas shooting anymore. Man, they swept this under the rug at an unbelievable pace. Did you see this? This is funny, guys. Check this out. And this is because of you and me, getting together and trying to spread the truth. Someone put on a Las Vegas gun billboard, vandalized, to say, shoot a school kid only, $29 for tourists. And look, it's a billboard of Battlefield Vegas. Tell me that's not funny. I gotta play that video.
A Las Vegas gun billboard.
Hold on, it's slowed down. I'm gonna play this for you guys, because you guys know exactly what this is about.
A Las Vegas gun billboard was vandalized to say, shoot a school kid, only $29. The freeway side billboard invited people to fire high-powered assault-style rifles. The activist group In Decline claimed responsibility for the change. According to the Associated Press, they say they wanted to spur debate about, quote, inadequate gun laws that are currently placing value on assault weapons over that of a human life. The altered sign was taken down within hours of being reported. Back in 2016, the same group took credit for putting statues of a naked Donald Trump in cities around the country. Police are investigating the incident.
So, okay, so another thing I wanted to talk about with you guys about the Las Vegas shooting that I didn't get around to making a video about yet is, so this Battlefield Vegas right here had multiple armored trucks deployed. I don't know if you guys heard about this. Let me know if you did in the comments. This Battlefield Vegas had multiple armored trucks deployed during the Las Vegas shooting. But the odd thing about the trucks is that they did not come to the front of the building. They went to the back of the building. Now, why would armored trucks be called in and go to the back of the building? There is on police scanner, I'll try to pull the police scanner up right now, but I'll pull up the armored trucks. I think Jason Mann, I think that's his name, talked about these armored trucks, and he went to Battlefield Vegas to have a conversation with them about that, and they kicked him off the property. So let's see if we can find a video. Okay, so we're probably not going to find a video of these armored trucks, but if you go on Google, go back to Google. If you go on Google and look up armored trucks in Las Vegas shooting, you gotta be kidding me, right? Wow, don't tell me they took them off the internet. So usually when I type in armored trucks Las Vegas shooting, I get articles about how the police called in armored trucks during the Las Vegas shooting, and Battlefield Vegas, which was located close by to the Mandalay Bay, their armored trucks were deployed. Now if you watched Jason Goodman's videos, he went to Battlefield Vegas, and if you see that place, it's crazy. It's like a military base. Armored Humvees, armored trucks, armored helicopters. That's also a location where you can pay to fly in a helicopter out into the desert and shoot an M240 machine gun at targets on the ground. But for some reason, no articles are coming up of the armored trucks anymore. Let me try a different search term. Search term.
Wow, been over 3.5 hours.
And this is live, uncut, guys. I'm right here with you. Has anybody else seen that the articles about the armored trucks involved in the Las Vegas shooting? Because I know I'm not going crazy. I've looked at that article many times. So you're telling me Google removed all the articles about these armored trucks? I can't believe this right now. I'm so pissed off. I'm so pissed off that they took these articles down. I want everybody to go try Google, unless you can't leave the live post, but if you can, try Google and see if armored trucks come up involved in the Las Vegas shooting. Because I'm about to expose their asses right now live. Yeah, I'll try Yahoo. Let me try Yahoo. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. It's on Yahoo. I don't understand how. And look, this isn't even. This is a totally different website than I've ever seen. This is a website who's a privately owned website who must have posted the story on their website, and it's still here, thank God. Oh, so what's interesting about this, and another thing I noticed about this that's interesting, is I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and this article actually was written or examined by somebody from Baltimore, because it says right here, when the Baltimore Post-Examiner contacted Battlefield Las Vegas today, an employee named Trevor, after having been asked what type of armored vehicles were provided to the police the night of the shooting, stated that they were not commenting on it. He said the only vehicles they have were the ones you can see on their website. So that's really strange in itself right there, because I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and all my videos and the things I've said. But this article details that according to the LVMPD radio traffic that night, the police dispatcher stated, see, the police didn't even come out and admit to this. This was found out through the police scanner. People talking on the police scanner, and you can hear it on the police scanner. I'm going to pull it up for you guys in a minute. I heard YouTube was going to crack down on people investigating the shooting. Google is about to choose another tool for them. I found it. Okay, radio traffic that night, the police dispatcher stated, units be advised there is going to be 3 armored cars en route to South Central Area Command, followed by a silver Dodge Ram. Okay, per SWAT. Minutes later, 3 Ocean 55, we have 3 armored cars that are at Russell and Las Vegas Boulevard. They're not affiliated with law enforcement, but the sergeant called them from Battlefield Las Vegas, and they're waiting for orders. Police dispatcher, they're going to be going to South Central Area Command. We've been advised. Now, do you know where South Central Area Command is? South Central Area Command is where, I'm going to pull this up on Google Maps. South Central Area Command is across the street from the Harley Davidson store where the Las Vegas Police Department helicopter landed in the mercenary helicopter video. I'm going to pull it up. Check this out, guys. Just to deepen the story a little more. Here's Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Here's the Harley Davidson store. Here's Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. If you scroll up, here's West Russell Road. Now, what did the police scanner say? Units be advised there is going to be 3 armored cars en route to South Central Area Command, followed by a silver Dodge Ram. Okay, per SWAT. Minutes later, 3 Ocean 55, we have 3 armored cars that are at Russell and Las Vegas Boulevard. They're not affiliated with law enforcement, but the sergeant called them from Battlefield Las Vegas, and they're waiting for orders. They're going to be going to South Central Area Command. We have been advised. Russell Road and South Las Vegas Boulevard. Where's Russell Road and South Las Vegas Boulevard located? Let's zoom out. Right here. That's the rear side of the Mandalay Bay. Mandalay Bay. This is the whole Mandalay Bay complex here. So these trucks had to have come down this road this way. They came from this direction. Where the hell were these armored trucks the whole time? For all we know, they could have had shooters on all the rooftops around Mandalay Bay, and they could have got in these armored trucks and drove away. Like I said, here's Russell Street, West Russell Road, and here's Las Vegas Boulevard. This is Las Vegas Boulevard, and this is Russell Road. This is Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department right here, or South Central Command. And I'll show you an even better view of this. Look, I'll go to Street View. Let's drop in on Street View. Okay, so remember the images from the mercenary helicopter? Right here, this video. Is that a silver Dodge pickup right there? Or a Dodge Ram? Is that a silver Dodge Ram? Can anybody identify this pickup truck? Is that a silver Dodge Ram? Or what's this one over here? Looks like a Chevy to me. I think that's a Chevy. Okay, but you see that image? That's next to the Harley Davidson shop. Remember this roof. Okay? Remember that roof. Going back to here. Let's go this way. Over here. Let's go in this direction. Back this way some. Just won't let me get in the perfect spot, will ya? Right there. Zoom it in. God, I love having a MacBook Pro. There is your scene of the mercenary helicopters video. That helicopter, and look how small that space is where that helicopter landed. Why would a helicopter land there and not land at the precinct across the street? If you look down at my little map down here on the left side, you see we're facing towards the Harley Davidson, this direction. Right behind us is the police station. Why pull there? I'm going to read your comments real quick. And there's things inside the hotel room that don't add up, starting with the pics of the so-called paddock Patsy and the actual location of the room being lied to us. Right, I'm going to get into that with you. I want to ask you some questions about that. Katriana Halliday, I hope I said that right. Thanks for letting me know. Katrina. Tessa told me it's Katrina. Let me know if I got it right. But there's the scene where that helicopter landed. Now let's go to the police station across the street. Okay? This right here somewhere is a police station. So you got the golf course. And I'm guessing this is the police station right here. Can we go up in there? Oh, we can go up in there. What's that say? Pretty sure it said police something. Trying to get the best view for you guys. Says Las Vegas Police Department. The building says Las Vegas Police Department. This is South Central Command right here, guys. If you didn't know about this. This is South Central Command. Now, look how big this parking lot is. Why wouldn't they land the helicopter over here instead of at the Harley Davidson store? And why were 3 armored trucks coming here from Russell Road? Russell Road. So on the police scanner, they report the 3 armored trucks are at Russell Road and Las Vegas Boulevard. That's up here. Here we go. This is the intersection of Russell Road and Las Vegas Boulevard. So these trucks were here for some reason. And if you look, this is really interesting. If you look what's at this corner of Russell Road and Las Vegas Boulevard, if you go down the road a little ways and you look, this is the loading dock entrance of the Mandalay Bay. I think it's part of the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. There's huge garages that lead down underground and other garages. You can follow this all the way around. It's all garages and docks. All garages and docks. What's this sign say? Let me see. Yeah, Convention Center, Shark Reef, Daylight Beach Club. And this is the entrance. We can go in here, I think. And this basically brings us to a loading dock area. Sounds like the perfect escape plan, doesn't it? Sounds like a shooter could get right in a truck and bounce out of here, right? And then I think if we can go around here, you can really see how complex the Mandalay Bay Center is. You can see multiple passageways, underground steps, underground, goes all the way around the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. So if someone was on those roofs, they could easily get down to here and exit through the rear of this complex. Here's another view of it. This goes straight up to the Mandalay Bay parking lot. But the 3 armored trucks called in by Battlefield Vegas, heard on the police scanner. It's going to be hard for me to pull it up on the police scanner. But that's another avenue I've been investigating that I'm going to put in my next video, as I'm investigating these 3 armored trucks. And why did the police helicopter land in the Harley-Davidson parking lot instead of right at the police station? Doesn't make any sense. And why wouldn't, if they were driving the armored vehicles to do something, why wouldn't they have pulled it straight up in front of the Mandalay Bay to cover people from getting shot? Everything about this Las Vegas shooting makes no sense. Everything. There's nothing that makes sense about this shooting. So, like I said, I just showed you where the helicopter landed. And what's funny, another funny fact about it is, if you watched my other videos, where did the helicopter N848 disappear? Do you guys remember? It disappeared above the convention center. Right about 9 o'clock. It disappeared above the convention center, which would be the perfect landing location for a helicopter. The convention center, if you look on satellite, the convention center is over here. This is the convention center. See how it almost looks exactly like a helicopter pad? Man, I wish there was an H on top of this building. I'd blow it wide open, guys. If there was an H on top of that building. And this is easily accessible to the other roofs on top of the Mandalay Bay Casino. And then you have the building. Another interesting point I wasn't able to really point out in my other videos is if a helicopter was flying in like this. This is the Mandalay Bay. If a helicopter was flying in like this, like my mouse pointer right now, and how close we saw that light to this tower as it passed behind it, it would collide with this side of the building. So think of a plane as I identified it as a plane, remember? In my videos with the radar hooked up. A plane would have to fly it completely over the building the way it takes off. It would be taken off like this, and you would see it the whole time. It would take off over top the building. That light comes in from how we're looking at it. It comes in from, I guess you could say, the east side of the Mandalay Bay, from looking from our direction that we're looking right now, and heads straight for this side of the building to run into it, but somehow manages to go out, come back in, and go back out, and look, and it's still lower than the Delano. That's the funny thing about the light. It's still lower than the Delano when it comes out between these two buildings. It's still lower than this. How can that be possible? That can't be possible. The light would be over top of the Delano at that point, because it's taken off from the airport, which is all the way over here. If we zoom out, this is where the airplanes are taking off. So the plane would have had to took off, banked right. Look how sharp that turn is. It would have had to take off, bank right, and then go like this. But really, it doesn't even go like that because you don't see no light over here to the right of the Mandalay Bay. You don't see no light. Remember, the cameraman is right here. Right here. And he watches the light come in like this. This is the Mandalay Bay. Come in like this. Pass behind the Mandalay Bay. You see it come back out between Mandalay and Delano right here. Somehow managed to go this direction, which a plane can't do, and then disappear. If this was a plane, it would have banked right. It would have kept getting higher and higher, and you would have seen the light the entire time as it passed over the Luxor and everything else. It's not a plane. It's not a plane. Someone lied about that light. I think it's N848, to be honest with you guys. Someone definitely lied about that light. But, yup. I'm definitely making more videos about the Las Vegas shooting, and I've still been working with the guy who, I know you don't like him, Chris, if you're still with me. I know you don't like the guy who was able to get, I know the guy who got the security camera footage, the last video that was pretty much put out about the Las Vegas shooting. I know the guy, and he's been working with me. Now, he does support a different theory than me. He doesn't believe helicopters were involved. He supports the one shooter theory. You guys, if you're in my Facebook group, if you're not, go on Facebook and look up Truth Trackers. I done forgot it because I changed the name. What's the group called, Tess?
I don't know. Truth Tracker, True something.
Oh, yeah. Truth Tracker, Truth Network. I'm pretty sure. If you look up Truth Tracker, you should be able to find it. But if you were in the group on Facebook, you would have seen him. I'm not going to put his name out there, but he was in our group, and Chris didn't really agree with his theories. But he always had a different theory than me. It's just he agreed to work with me. He wanted to prove me wrong, which he has yet to prove me wrong. There's nothing to prove wrong about my investigation. I'm pointing things out that should be obvious to people. That's all I'm doing, is pointing things out that should be obvious. If I had concrete 100% proof, then I would say I had concrete 100% proof, and you can bet your bottom dollar that it would be 100% proof if I said it was. But don't let me get cocky. I'm not a cocky kind of guy. But yeah, so I wanted to go back to your comment. Also, what's with the two people with YouTube videos on the flight radar, one showing them all landing and the other saying that two feathered from the route. And there's things inside the hotel room that don't add up. Starting with I didn't see any YouTube videos about all the helicopters landing. In all of my checks on Flight Radar 24, there was one helicopter that did not land at the airport, and more helicopters took off than what radar shows you. It's a really confusing subject, but if you have any more questions about it, let me know. I answer any question you guys have. And there's things inside the hotel room that don't add up, starting with the pics of the so-called Paddock Patsy and the actual location of the room being lied to us. Aaron guy released something. I have to look that up. Katrina, I guess. I have to look that up. Did he show on Flight Radar or something where all the helicopters landed? I'm curious about that. But another thing I was doing, I was in the process of working out that I'm going to be releasing in the future, now that I have the new program up and running and everything, is I am syncing the police scanner to the security camera footage and also to the rare first shots video footage to add sound to the security camera footage, which will be able to give a accurate timestamp to when the girl who passes away in the security camera footage died. if I can pull it off and if it's accurate, which I think I was extremely close to pulling off in my last video that I put out. He had audio. I'll have to look it up and figure that out. Trying to think, is there anything else I could go over with you guys right here and right now? We covered a lot of stuff tonight. Probably been online live for like 3 hours now. 4 hours now we've been live, having computer problems and everything, and you guys have stuck with me. I really appreciate it. And the drone stuff with round flying pattern and the square shape flying patterns, it's all confusing. I don't know. I have to look that up. I have to go look that up maybe tonight or tomorrow, and I can get back to you with that. But I think I'm gonna cap off the live event for tonight. I really appreciate all you guys tuning in, even with all the crazy stuff that happened earlier. Each and every night, this is the plan, so everybody knows. I'm gonna host a live show every night on Debating with Tessa, my good friend Tessa, and I'm gonna have special guests on air. I'm gonna have call-ins. I'm setting that up now, and I might even hook up live cameras here in the studio so you guys could see us. And basically at 8 o'clock every night, I'm gonna do a debate show where we have call-ins, we talk gun debates, anything that's in the popular MSM at the time. Katrina said, thanks, Tessa. You want to come up and say bye? But that's the 8 o'clock show will probably run until about 11, and then from about 12 to 1, just like Coast to Coast, I think I'm going to host a show about history and about ancient aliens, and I'm going to really dig into Project Paperclip and the Nazis and how things have gotten the way they are today. So there's going to be multiple shows, and then I'm also going to do live shows that for anything that happens here in Baltimore, I'll be on the scene reporting with my HD camera, my Nikon, and I'm really hoping to build this YouTube page up as a truth movement. You'll never have to worry about anybody paying me money and trying to convince me of anything. That's not how I work. I'm all about the truth, and I'm all about us as Americans and about us keeping our freedom of speech and our rights. And I promise to stand by you guys no matter where this goes. Either way, even if I had 5 subscribers every night watching, that's cool with me, as long as I can just be online and talk and do my thing. But you want to say something, Tess?
Bye.
Tess says bye. So I'll get back up with you guys tomorrow night. If you want to tune in, I'll have a whole show prepared. Hopefully it won't get destroyed at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Make sure you tune in, and I'll see you guys then. Have a good night. Truth Tracker.
Hasta luego.